Hello everybody, how's it going? Carl Screezilla here. I hope you're all well and welcome back to iRacing. It is the third week of the latest round of the Skippy series and my continuing careers and continuing driving in the Sunday Night Lights series. We are at Road Atlanta this week, so Atlanta, Georgia, famous of course for Petit Le Mans. And a really interesting little track. Now, I'll talk you around the track properly after this lap. This was my first qualifying lap, by the way. It doesn't go so well, as have a little bit of a moment up through turn 5. Yeah, it does not go well. Second lap, hopefully will be a little bit better. So, down in the bottom split. Again, because I am a pleb. But yeah, down in the lowest split. Strength of field around about 1010, I think, or 1020. So it was actually a relatively strong strength of field. I came into the race, I think, about 900, or no, about 890 or 880. I rating, so I was one of the lowest rating. Well, I was one of the low rating drivers, as you can see by the number 14 on the car. So I was very much one of the lower rated drivers in the field. Some of the stronger ones were up around about the 1100 mark. So very strong field. So I didn't like my chances getting into this race. So let's talk you around a lap of Road Atlanta. So coming into the straight here. So not exactly that straight, but we come down towards turn number 1. This right-hander really caught me out every time, could not get it right. So dropping down a 4th gear, just get the tail stepping out, getting through there, I don't take much apex, really messed up that corner. Pretty much until the end of the night, up through the S's now. So turns 2, 3, very hard. The S's now, this section here, you pretty much take flat out. I tended to lift just a little tiny bit sometimes, just to be a bit safe. Up towards turn 5 where I made that mistake. Don't make that same mistake. Drop down to about 3rd gear. Gets the car nice and settled for the straight down towards 6. Now turn 6, right-hander. Nice bit of camber here. You can drop the car down into about 3rd gear and just spin it in nice and easy. Take a lot of speed on the exit up towards turn 7, which is a 2nd gear right-hander. You get the car nice and turned in there, take the exit as much as you can and onto this big long back straight. This is where turns 8 and 9 are. They're not really turns, they're just little kinks in the road under the bridge, and this is where the drafting action comes in. This is the big straight down here, and this is where the car really gets a lot of speed, especially when following somebody else. Now, as we get down towards turns 10 and 10A and 10B, the chicane, so getting in here, dropping down to 3rd gear, making a lot of exit speed here, and that's what you want to do over the top here, because this corner here, turn 11 to 12, is really tricky, and turn 12 is pretty much flat out when the tyres are up to temperature. When they are a bit cool, it's very sketchy. And that's a lap of Road Atlanta. Okay, let's jump so we managed to qualify in P18. Sorry, P8, sorry, even. I think P8, yeah, P8. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 8th. So not a terrible result for car number 14. So getting ready for the start here, getting the revs up, we get away nicely, and something I'm pretty good at is a standing start, and that's definitely something that I've been pretty proud of. So we get away nicely, and the first thing we've got to worry about is this first corner. So coming in here for the first time, we're just keeping an eye on our right hand side. You can see we've got a car on the inside there. We just managed to keep him on the inside, get very close, up towards the turns 3 and 4, and we've got the advantage, we've got the overcut. Car spins off in front of us, we managed to avoid them, and we've managed to get up a couple of positions. So running well right now, up in P7 I think it is. No, we're more than that, so I think I qualified in P7. No, I qualified in P8, so it was P7. Yeah, got up to P7, technically a bit higher, so I think we're like 5th at the moment. So, running well through the field. and we've got some very fast cars in front of us, and that's going to be the thing that's going to make it harder. We've got some very, very fast cars behind us. Always the battle here. And obviously slipstreaming becomes a thing, because you're running in open wheel wings car, so the slipstream can become quite powerful, and you can get a slipstream train going. So you generally don't want to be out of the tow with anybody else. If you break the tow, generally you're okay, but if you're in the tow, you can be in trouble. We've got a couple of cars behind us that are in the tow at the moment. We're just focusing on the cars in front of us. Now the wheels, the tyres are cold right now, so coming into the chicane. Brake a little bit later, get through there smooth, and just gently caress the car through. Don't want to push too hard. The guys up in front start racing side by side towards the final corner, which can be a bit dangerous. So again, just trying to keep damage control on at the moment. Damage limitation is always the thing I look for at the start of the race, because I'm expecting people to make silly mistakes, and I'm trying not to get involved in them. Make a little bit of a mistake there as we go very wide into the first corner. Just take a little bit too much speed. We managed to keep it going, but we do lose the draft train, which is unfortunate. So just settle the car back down, and of course one of the other things that does, it does sometimes add a little bit of extra heat to the rear tyres. Right now not going to affect us too much, but we've lost the back of those cars in front of us, and the car behind us is gaining. Now, it's a little bit out of qualifying position, because there was a lot of much faster people around it. So, it's very much keeping an eye on that. Up front, though, we have a spinner, and that is one of the lead cars, so we're up another position, up into P4 now, I think it is. So, going well. And as I said, it's all just a thing of keeping it clean at the moment. It's a long race to go, it's 15 laps here, so it's just keeping the car out of trouble and keeping yourself in a position where you're not going to get caught in a silly accident. And there are always silly accidents in Skippies. Guys running side by side down towards the chicane right here, getting very close to each other, and we're just going to keep behind them, and they make contact. So we managed to squeeze our way through there. We lose a little bit of time just having to just narrow our way through. But, importantly, we're running in second place.
Really?
So, second week in a row, up to P2. Pretty happy about that. So, Road Atlanta, of course, home of Petit Le Mans. Of course, the first race of the American Le Mans series back in '97, I think. Yeah, I think it was '97 when the GT1, the Porsche 911 GT1 came over and decided to do a backflip across the side barriers. So, yeah, 97 sounds wrong for the Porsche, because that was, I'm having to think now. I think it was 98 then. Go 98. Anyway, track built back in the late 70s. Sorry, the late 60s, the early 70s. Built to effectively hold Can-Am series races. Of course, the Can-Am series back in the day, absolutely fantastic. Vic Elford was the first guy to put it on pole here back in the day in the Chaparral J2, and I think it was Sterling Moss was the Grand Marshal of that race as well, so it was a pretty big event, and Porsche won it. I just can't remember who it was off the top of my head. So I remember a Porsche did win first time out here, and that's been a big thing about Petit Le Mans, is Porsche doing well. They tend to be pretty good here. Not a track that I like, in all honesty. I'm not a huge fan of Road Atlanta. I've never really got on with this track. I've always struggled with the S's and this corner here. So coming up to the S's, the first set of corners I always struggle with. The rest of the track I don't mind. It's just the first section, this twisty bit here, I've always struggled with. I've never gotten along so well. I've always struggled through the first sector, and then when I got past turn 5, I'm usually pretty quick. Unfortunately, I've got a very quick driver next to me, and that's not going to help me out right here. This guy was just a bit too fast for me, and I decided that I wasn't going to put up too much of a fight here because we're going to start costing ourselves time. Now, there's a lapped car between us, so we've got a lapped car in front of us, but the guy is not slow, so that's some good news. And it's one of those guys that got taken out early, and honestly, I think if they were in the race, they would have definitely given me a run for my money. Now, I absolutely had a chance here to make a bit of a lunge and an overtake, but my plan of attack here is actually just to sit in the slipstream, and I just want to keep near this guy and try and get towed along so I can build a gap behind me, because I know I'm not quick enough through a lap to keep ahead of the guys behind me. So I'm definitely not quick enough to beat this guy, but I'm not too slow, so I can possibly keep with this guy a little bit and use his draft to my advantage, and that's my plan. Or I say, that is my plan, or was my plan. Because it's very hard to keep close sometimes. I mean, obviously, when you've got downforce in play, which you do with a Skippy, it's got a bit of downforce, but it's not a huge amount. I mean, you're not doing a huge amount of speed. You're still going over 170 kilometers per hour through areas. But these cars don't weigh much. They do produce downforce, and you do get a little bit of washout, and the car gets a little bit lighter through some of the corners. It can catch you out a little bit, but overall, it's not been too bad, and it's been good experience, and that's been the main thing I've been doing. Now, obviously, I'm not racing in Sunday Night Lights proper, because I'm way down the field in, the low ends of the grid. But my goal is to try and get up to at least the 3rd tier in the officials, so try and get up so I can at least be in not the bottom group, which is definitely something I think I'm going to achieve towards the year end. So that's something that's pretty good. And you can catch all the races on Top Split TV as well, so check them out on Twitch, Top Split TV. And you can see all the actual races, and that's the Top Split races, of course, which you're not going to see me in ever, because those guys, they have 4,000 I rating, which is ridiculous. As I said, coming into this race, I'm sitting at about 800 I rating, so it's not exactly in their class, let's say. But I've been having a real blast on the nights. And it's been so fun to actually get back to racing and actually just not having to think too much about it. I mean, obviously you still need to put a lot of thought in, but the Skippy is just the right balance for me. It's just a car that works well for me to race, because it's not so intense that it really takes it out of me. The race times are a good time as well. They're around about half an hour sort of thing, so you can get the race done in about half an hour, which is really, really nice for me. And I can usually get about 2 or 3 races in before I start feeling too broken. And this is what happened last night, is I did 2 practice races, and then this was my main race, so to say. So my first race I finished in 6th position, which I was super, super happy about. Again, I was car 16 in that race, so I overperformed a little bit. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, so effectively in iRacing, the car number is your rank. So you rank up by doing well, effectively. So your I rating goes up the better you do. So the better you are, the higher your I rating is. The lower your I rating, the worse you are. And coming into the season, I think my I rating was like 600-700. It was very low. I don't race that much road, and I mainly just race to get my licenses and stuff like that. The other thing as well is I want to try and improve my safety rating to get my class C at the moment. So I want to get my class B license, so move up in the class. And that's going really well at the moment as well, actually. I managed to gain a huge amount of safety rating. I'm almost actually at the point where I'm going to get a new license. So that's good. And that's one of the things that's nice about iRacing is you have to actually really work hard to get your license up. Now, we have dropped out the draft a little bit here. But we have managed to build a nice gap over the guy behind us. So we're sort of sitting in a pretty position. And we're just got to not make a mistake. That's it. It's literally just not making a mistake. And that's one of the big things that I've been practicing a lot of, is not making mistakes. And something I've been good at recently. I did have, I think the race prior to this one, I had a bit of a shocker. I had like 7 incident points, but that was mainly other people. And I still finished 4th. So it wasn't a bad race in that respect. I only lost like a couple of safety points, and I gained them all back, thankfully. Spoiler, I guess, for this race. But I gained a lot of safety ratings, so it went very well. And again, it's just about the thing of having fun. And that's something I've really been enjoying. I mean, I generally have the Sunday Night Lights broadcast on in the background, so I'm listening to it as I'm racing and sort of getting to enjoy that as I race, which is kind of fun. It's that nice thing of being able to race along and actually have a chat with people and have a bit of a laugh and a little bit of banter and stuff like that, especially with some of the fast guys. There are some really talented racing drivers that race in the Sunday Night Lights series, and they are much more talented than me. Like, for instance, a fast lap around here I think is like a 1:35 or something like that, and I'm nowhere near that. As you can see, I'm like in the 1:38, so I'm improving. I mean, I think my qualifying lap was a 1:39, so with every lap I'm luckily improving my speed, but it is definitely something that I need to do, is just get that little bit more improvement. But the other thing as well is I can't practice all week long. I can't constantly practice. Obviously I've got the channel to make content for, so you know, this is kind of useful, but I've also got work and health issues as well, and racing with health issues can be very hard because it's a lot of work that goes through when you're actually racing a sim car. So for instance, in this corner right here you get a lot of feedback on the wheel, so you're really pushing it, so you are exercising as you do it, and that's actually it's a good thing to have that. It's not exercise in the way that people think of, but it is an exercise in the, it's moving your arms. You are actually getting resistance. You're actually having to move your upper back muscles and things like that, and it does put a bit of strain on you to help you, just improve a little bit. And physical fitness is not my greatest achievement, as you know. And obviously, back problems make things hard because I've got no feeling in my right arm, for instance, which is really tricky. Well, I do have feeling in it, but it's very, very dull. So, it's sort of, for instance, if you stuck a knife in my arm, I probably wouldn't notice it. But if you set it on fire, I probably would. I can still feel heat and stuff like that a little bit. But the racing aspect, sometimes my leg will go dead when I'm racing, or I'll get a spasm, or I'll have a big shot of pain go through my back, and that can be really, really hard to live with. Luckily, my rig setup allows me to be a bit more comfortable, so racing is much more possible, but I can't manage more than a couple of hours a week sort of thing. It does still take it out of me, unfortunately, but what I am able to do, I'm enjoying, and that's the main thing, and that's the beauty of this series and the Skippies and Sunday Night Lights. As I said, it's just got a sort of pure racing to it, and the fact that so many talented drivers come out to it really means you have to up your game, and it's something that I've been luckily doing. With the win last time out, which I'm still in shock at, in all honesty, because, you know, it's me, and it's very rare that I get a victory. I've been doing really well this Skippy season, and it's just nice to be doing well at something. I mean, obviously, I know I'm not going to go and win every single race, and as much as I'd like to win every single race, I kind of don't want to, because again, it's something of I'm going to have to improve to actually win, and if I do improve enough to win, then that's going to be amazing. Especially if I'm, you know, the pleb with, you know, double digits on his cars, because that's often been the case. I've been the car with one of the lowest numbers finishing relatively high, which is a really good feeling, because you know that you're doing the best that you can possibly do. Of course, you do get people using Smurf accounts, and what we mean by that are people effectively making a new account, a second account, just so they can hide their iRating and hide their skill. So they sort of jump on and they go, oh, look at me, I'm just a lowly, I've got a 200 iRating, I'm really crap. But I'm actually as fast as a Formula 1 driver. You do get that quite a lot, unfortunately. And, you know, that kind of ruins it a little bit. But, at the same time, they're often ones that get caught up in mistakes or get caught up in accidents. So, again, you know, you just have to just keep plugging away. And the main thing, as I said, is consistency. And that's been something I've wanted to work on for a long time, especially with my circuit racing. With ovals, I'm pretty confident and comfortable. With oval racing, I've been, you know, it's a little bit less of an endurance on the body. It's more mentally exhausting. Whereas with road racing, you know, there's a lot more left and right turns, and there's a lot more involved, there's a lot more input in it. And especially, the Skippy it's not a super heavy car, it's not like driving a 1980s Formula 1 car, but it is a sort of more classic style race car, which suits me a little bit more. I enjoy driving a GT3, I enjoy driving modern cars, but at the end of the day, I prefer driving some of the older stuff because it's just a little bit looser, it has less downforce, it's got a little bit more power to weight, it's a little bit heavier in some respects, but lighter in others. You know, like a modern Formula 1 car weighs as much as, you know, 7 elephants with obesity issues. When you jump in one of those late 80s Formula 1 cars, those things, they've got some weight to them, but that's mainly because they've got a V12 engine in them, or, you know, DFVs in them. You know, it's just the weight from the engine, you know, and that's the thing, it just gives them a different feel. And driving some of the classic cars, like the classic NASCARs and stuff like that, it's so much fun, I just love them so much. But then I jump into a cup car and it just doesn't feel the same. You know, I kind of like the trucks, because they feel a bit more old school, but the Xfinity and the Cup car I tend to really struggle in, and, you know, just, yeah, it's not nearly as fun for me. I really would love to be racing the 87 more, but, you know, that's something that doesn't happen too often, sadly. So the Skippy is my sort of jump back to, like, 1980s, 1990s sort of Formula Ford, Formula 2000, Formula 3000 sort of, like, feeling cars. You know, it's got a nice bit of punch to it, it's super lightweight, it's just fun, and it just makes you smile. And I think that's one of the big things about racing a car, is you want to be able to smile when you're driving it. It's a hugely important thing to enjoy what you're doing, I guess. So the race is going on, and it's been a relatively quiet one for me. As you can see, I've got a nice gap over P4. P4 and P5 are battling away as well, which is good news for me. And when I'm driving in this respect, I'm generally keeping an eye on the relative and just keeping an eye on where people are, but not focusing on it. Because what you can sometimes do is, if you focus on that relative too much, you will make mistakes and you will have problems, and you will end up losing time. If you're trying to set qualifying laps every single lap, then if you've got the talent to do it, but If you're somebody like me, you're not going to be able to do that. The guys in front haven't run away from me too much. They've made about a 4-second and an 8-second gap. So, could have been much worse considering my pace. I was about 2 seconds off of them in qualifying. So, I wasn't 2 seconds a lap slower than them. Which is really, really good news. And, once again, I've not spun or crashed in the race. So, this is good news so far. So, there's not been any spinning or crashing, which is usually a good sign. The tyres are nice up to temperature right now, fuel is dropping, the car's getting a bit lighter. It's just getting to that stage of the race where the car gets a little bit more nimble, and I've also settled in as well. I've got myself into a nice rhythm, which is really nice. And shortly, I'm not sure if it's this lap or the next lap, I will be setting my fastest lap of the race. I'll be dipping down into the 1:37s. Which really cheered me up immensely. And I know some of you are going to be watching this and looking at my lines and looking at my my acceleration brake pedals and being like, what the hell are you doing, Carl? Yeah, I know. Bit of a mistake there. Just ran a little bit wide. Ooh, bit of a moment, but we managed to save it. Flat out through the S's, we're okay. Just easing off a little bit uphill now, just getting it through here, down to third, again locking it in, just getting that nice run off the corner. As I said, I'm no means an expert. I am not the fastest guy out there. I'm never going to be the fastest guy out there. But my main goal is just to be able to have fun and at least be able to keep up with a few people. You know, I don't want to be racing and just be the guy that's at the back and slowest and not able to race anybody. If I can actually have a fairly decent race and have some good moves like I did at the start of the race, that's going to make me pretty happy. Because at the end of the day, you know, I'm doing this to have fun, and it's sort of, you know, it's just nice to enjoy yourself, which is something I think people forget a lot in sim racing. They just do it because it's, you know, they want to be the best, or they want to have the biggest number, or be the fastest. And yes, there is a lot of that in there. But there is also the big thing of having fun. And I think that's a huge thing you've got to be able to do, is just enjoy yourself in sim racing. If you're not enjoying yourself, you're just going to end up burning yourself out at the end of the day and just wondering why you do it. So this run, these last three races for me have been just that. They've just been really fun little situations, and you know, it's been nice to chat with some of the drivers, and a lot of the same drivers drive on the same night for Sunday Night Lights as well, so you see a lot of returning people, and that's good as well, because you can gauge yourself a little bit. Because, you know, you might have been a couple of tenths slower than that guy at the last track, but this track you're actually a little bit faster, and that's really good news. Or they're all of a sudden, you know, 10 seconds faster than you, and you just go, what the hell, how did this happen? But the same thing is in practice as well, is you get to pit yourself against some of the very best Skip Barber drivers out there, some of the top guys in the world. You know, Julian O'Fray, Ben Snell, they are just freaks when it comes to speed. And, you know, they are much faster than me. Braden Martin as well, and Peter Wilkinson. Like, you know, Wilco will say, oh, I'm not that much faster than you. But he is a lot better than me in a Skippy. But just being able to race with those guys in the practice sessions and get a bit of an idea has been really fun. Anyway, that's the end of the race. We finished in P3 in the end, so
good race, Pit. I did not have the pace to catch you, man.
Just going to jump to the results page here. So as you can see, 15 laps completed, 0 cautions, yada yada yada. We made a nice lot of positions, and that's just my I rating and all that kind of stuff. So all in all, it was a really good race, and I'm really proud of what happened. I'm very proud of my performance on this night. So yeah, super happy with this one, and managed to get another podium, which is even better. I honestly did not expect to get a podium tonight, and I did. and the guys in front of me were so much faster, but I managed it. And as you can see, safety rating's gone up to 4.47, I rating to 1116, so really good news. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time. This is me, Carl, wishing you all a lovely day. Bye bye.